All right. Um, Sad story. This woman here. First of all, I want to say this. Well, I'll say this, and then I'll say that. This woman here got into a confrontation with a black woman. This Indian woman got into a confrontation with a black woman because the black woman felt that, I guess, you knew I was trying to take that parking space and you took it. I didn't. She probably, people that come into our country, and you got to understand how they drive in their own country. They cut each other off in traffic every day. They drive, have you been to India? Have you been to, Saudi? Have you been to the Middle East at all? I haven't. But when I watch videos on the Middle East, I'm quickly switching to something else. It's just crazy. I can understand why an Arab person or an Indian person would want to live here in the United States. However, this woman called this woman the N-word over a parking space. And as you can see here in the picture, the woman is in her car. The black woman got out of her car. So already we know, basically, how this went down because, like, to me, I'm a man and I only go at it with men. And if I'm a man and you take my parking space, black man to black man, we're not going to stand there and argue all day. Somebody going to start swinging, okay? White man to black man, he going to say something, especially being I'm all small and junk. He going to say something to me because he know I ain't going to beat his butt with my little tiny black self, okay? So he going to say something to provoke me. And I'm used to people just randomly calling me the N-word. Okay, I've never had a white person call me the N-word, out in the open. Just to be calling me the N-word because he wanted me to fight him or something, which that's coming. I know they'll do that. My most recent problem with the N-word is not too long ago, just probably about 4 years ago, I was working just probably a couple miles outside my hometown because I lived out that way. Right now I live in Pittsburgh, but back then I lived in this little place, this little hit town. And everybody, all the white folks that lived in like Cheswick, Springdale, and that they hated. It's not, and listen, it's never been about the color of skin. It's always been about what the color of your skin represents. That's just like if I'm wearing a red suit, what does that represent? Okay, but if I'm playing a red ukulele, that's something else. Okay, you know what I'm saying? If you see red blood, that's something else. But nobody is just hating the color red just because it's red. No, people hate the sight of blood. They don't want to see anybody bleeding. And if they see somebody bleeding, then whoever the perpetrator is needs to be shot and killed, taken down, arrested, or something. God help the person that's bleeding. Okay. It's not the color of your skin. And this is why people like me get angry with black people. It's never been about the color of our skin. There's only one time in history that it meant about the color of our skin, and that was when we were first released from slavery. And we were put out there, we were thrown out there in the world with no authority, nobody to say, hey, we released the slaves, move over and give them a place to sit down. We released the slaves. Okay, what are we doing with these empty houses right here? Okay, all you slaves come over, there's some empty houses right here. It didn't work out. It didn't happen that way. The minute we were released from slavery, we were put in our own neighborhoods. Okay? And when we started the pride of having our own neighborhoods and our own things, we also started the pride and arrogance of doing crime, just like any white man or anybody else could do crime. Okay? And we started doing crime to white folks. And we started doing crime to, but it was only like 1% of the population of black people back then that did that. But the minute that the government stepped in and started giving us housing and giving us, treating us like victims, that would make some white people mad. One of the problems in the complaints of the KKK was that the KKK members in the South wanted to collect welfare and they couldn't because there were too many black people that were impoverished for white folks to collect welfare. And there was a mandate for white folks to go out and work if they were well able. You didn't get welfare as a white man back in the early days. You didn't get welfare as a white man unless you couldn't work. Whereas black folks, it was like, if they gave you welfare, it's like, well, you black. Your lazy butt is black. We expect you to collect welfare because you're black and you're lazy. And black people were like, yeah, I'm lazy. Where my check? Yeah, I'm lazy. Where my check? Okay. So we got this situation with this Indian woman calling this woman a nigger. Oh, sorry about that. I can't say that word on YouTube. Even these race baiters on here didn't say the N-word. They call it the hard R or the N-word, like the Hodge twins here are saying. Hard. They're saying the N-word. The people here doing the videos that they're showing you the clips, these people are calling it the hard R. Okay. She called her the hard R. Okay, that's a new way of saying someone called me the N-word. It's amazing, though. Well, I guess it's just YouTube. You got to be careful what you say on YouTube. But it's amazing to me how we sit there and talk all white when it comes to saying that somebody said the N-word. We'll say, oh, they said the N-word. Or they said the hard R. But when we listen to music and stuff like that, it's about nigga, 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 nigga. You know what I'm saying? It just, we love that N-word when we listen to music. It wouldn't be the same without the N-word. We love that N-word. Okay. This is what I want to say. Also, too, about the McCalf Anthony situation. I think the black boy, my take on it is the black boy was the stupidest. Because, again, why would you bring a knife to a football game? Was it football or basketball? I don't know. Why would you bring a knife? Okay. But the white boy, no, I take that back. The white boy was more stupid. And he got killed for it. The white boy was more stupid because if somebody tells you, even though they don't have no right to tell me that. Now, unless you're standing next to my wife or my kid and you say that crap to me, I'm going to back off and call the cops. I'm going to be like, you want me to call the cops, right? Okay. That's what I tell people all the time. The only time anybody's ever been able to put their hands on me is when I got mugged back in 21. Somebody rolled up behind me, 4 boys, well, 3 or 4. And I think it was 4. I think the one just stood by and watched while the other 3 jumped me. But these guys mugged the crap out of me, put me out of work for 2 days. 2 weeks. I couldn't come back to work. My eye was sitting outside my face. These boys jacked me up pretty good. And, but all the times I've had confrontations, and when I got my new job, I also got a new job in 21. At my new job, I ran into confrontations with people all the time because that's my job as a security officer, to tell people they can't stay. I'm there to tell you, you have to leave. That's what I get paid to do. That's 90% of my job, especially working midnight, is for you to come in and I'm like, you can't be here, sir. And you get mad because it's cold outside. You get mad because you're homeless. You mad because you ain't got no money. You mad, I got to tell you, you got to leave. And then when you start trying to get me to have mercy, I say, well, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Oh, you only going to give me 5 minutes? Yeah, brother. What if I want to call Uber? Okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes in here. You can wait the rest of the time outside. I had to be, I'm doing security. I had to be, I wasn't trying to be rough, but I had to be. Okay, I had to do my job. Okay. But if someone says you're in the wrong tent, you're in the wrong tent. Look around you, and I've seen people do that to me, and I went out to the front and I looked up at the sign. I said, oh, I am in the wrong tent. I'm sorry. And I walked away. And some of these white people, after I apologize, they still talking. They still running their mouth talking about, well, you should have, blah, blah, blah. You couldn't see, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I'm sitting here. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just sitting in the wrong spot. I didn't open nothing up yet. I didn't touch nobody's food. I didn't do anything, and they were shocked when some white folks showed up and said, hey, D-Roy, we're over here. Oh, you thought we was a bunch of hard R's out there. No, I was out there with my white homies. We're having a church picnic. Okay. You can calm down. Ain't no hard R dome going on here. Okay. And my life, consists of more, Caucasian people than brown skinned people. Okay. I only deal with brown skinned people when I go to work. Okay. Brown skin and brown skin. Everybody's brown skin except white skin, right? Unless you want to say yellow, caramel colored, whatever. But this woman, I know how Indian Arab people can get if they get angry. And they are very quick to lose their patience with black folks. And I'm so glad that one guy recently that was giving me a lot of trouble, he actually got fired from a job that I was doing. Matter of fact, my last job, he got fired. Bringing that Indian racist garbage in there, because it's not just her waiting to call you the N-word or her trying to hurry up and close this conversation by calling this woman the N-word, but Indian people have a tendency to talk down to black people, period. I started a new job one time, and these Indian people, they were tech people, they brought them over all the way over here from across the country somewhere. and brought them to this place where I was working. And these dummies didn't understand that the room that you're in is the goddamn break room. We eat in here, okay? Sorry, the company that you're getting ready to work for don't have enough money to have a special office for you to hang out in. The minute I walked in there, my first day on the job, guy walked me in there. He introduced me to these people, even though they ain't got nothing to do with me. These Indian people were laughing at me. And I'm thinking, what's so funny? You ain't never seen a black man get a job before? Like, what's going on? You know? And I'm not trying to hate on Indian people, but I know their attitude. I've never, and I've said this on Facebook. You can go to my Facebook channel. I'm not too crazy about Indian Arab people. Now, the women, I haven't had any runs in with them. I haven't had, you know, but the men are always like, shh, focus. I'm talking. Shh. Hold up. I started the conversation, dude. This is my conversation. Then I open my mouth, you shh, I'm talking. How you talking? You don't know what we talking about, you know. I mean, you know, that's the kind of stuff, you know, and this one dude that got fired, you know, he came to me and wanted to be my friend. At least he had me thinking it. I'm like, wow, that's different. And then he just started talking about all the cars he got and how much money he spends on his wife. And, you know, as a black man that came up, born and raised in Pittsburgh, this is Pittsburgh, brother. I ain't from Trumpville. I'm from Pittsburgh. Okay? Then what really was racist was when he found out that Ramaswamy wasn't going to win, he got real racist about Trump. I go to him and talk about Trump. Oh, he ain't a Trumpster no more. But as long as Ramaswamy was still running against Trump, and Ramaswamy and Trump were on the same team, Ramaswamy gave it over to Trump, and he didn't want to admit that he hated that. He wanted Ramaswamy to win just because Ramaswamy was Indian. I kid you not. And there's a lot of people, this whole Hamas thing, these protests in the street, and then these dumb white judges. White people put a lot of racism on themselves. They really do. How you want to sit there and let a guy come into our country and talk about terrorism and talk about what they should do to us and punish us because we ain't taking their side against the Jews and all this stuff in an American country, and you don't deport that bastard when he is not legal? He's not a legal citizen. You can deport him. And Trump was like, I can squash this. Look, we can end the protests right now. Let me send this guy packing. And they said no. The judge said no, which I think Trump already done fired, what, like 4 judges by now? Yeah. Trump, that's another judge that's about to bite the dust, man. Okay. Trump, since the time they started, you know, giving him all these indictments and all this stuff, till the time he got in the office for 2025, okay? He done fire about 4 judges, I think. That's my man, okay? But anyway, you know, the situation with the 2 boys, the white boy and the black boy, McCalf and Anthony. First of all, Anthony shouldn't have been bringing a knife to school with him or to football practice, basketball practice, whatever it was. And then if somebody says to you that McCalf boy, let me, did I say that right? Anthony, the black boy, shouldn't have brought a weapon to school with him. He had bad intentions. And his bad intentions worked, okay? And he should be behind bars. He committed homicide. He should be behind bars. I'm sorry. He should be behind bars. Whatever. You know, meant to do it, didn't mean to do it, felt threatened, whatever. He should be behind bars. Because didn't nobody, where's his bruises at? Where's his bruises at? And obviously, they thought he was bluffing or something, or there would have been a struggle for the night. They had to be getting ready to turn and walk away or something. when he stabbed them, because they were not even worried about no knife. They didn't even believe him. So how racist could they been? They didn't think they thought your black butt was bluffing. They didn't think you really had a knife or whatever. I don't know. But to me, if somebody says to me, come over here and put your hand on me and see, unless my child or my wife is standing right next to you, I'm not coming nowhere near you. I'm going to just say, hold that happy thought. Yo, you got a phone? Give me your phone. I'm going to squash this. It's going to hold this up, but this is no longer my problem. 911, yeah, we got a dude here that he's in the wrong tent. We're trying to tell him nicely. He got to move on. His tent's over there on the other side. He said he got some kind of weapon on him or something. We'll need police assistance here immediately, ASAP. We got a guy out here that's hostile. We need police assistance ASAP. And I guarantee you, this is my problem with black people. It went the same way. They would have had some Johnny Cochran, wish he could be Johnny Cochran, dumbass, come in there and sit there and try to defend the boy when he just got arrested with the cops. The cops came. He had a knife. The cops pulled a knife off of him. They arrested him for threats. See, these white boys would have been totally innocent. But they figure, we're not racist. We're football players. We're basketball players. We're going to take this man-to-man, toe-to-toe, which I don't advise that. But they figure, But if, this is the thing with black folks, though. If they had just called the cops instead of coming anywhere near the boy, it wouldn't have been no different. They would have still been doing everything they could to call this a racial issue and to make this about race and, you name it. And here he stabs a white boy. And you think that white people shouldn't threaten you? You think that white people, the white ones should be the ones calling it racial? They should be the one that's upset and trying to cover some things up and all that kind of stuff. And I got mad at Brandon Tatum because Brandon Tatum kept saying, they didn't threaten me. Stab one of my kids in the chest and see if I don't threaten you. I'm coming for you. The cops better get you because I'm coming for you. Stab one of my kids in the threat. Stab one of my kids in the chest. I'm coming for you, and I'm going to let you know I'm coming for you. Brandon Tatum kept saying, he's so trying to be, I understand you trying to be a conservative. I am too, brother. I know you're a Trumpster. Me too. But white folks ain't white because of the color white any more than black folks are black because of the color black. White folks got their issues as well as black folks do. But when you stab somebody's kid in a chest, when you were the one that was in the wrong tent, I don't care if you white, black, Indian, Asian, whatever, we're going to threaten you. We're going to let you know we're coming for you. So whatever Mr. McCalf is doing does not surprise me. You killed my son. Do any of these hard R's understand that? You killed his son. Oh, and his mom, Anthony's mom, gonna get up there and, your son's freaking alive. But it don't matter. It don't matter. Anytime you touch black folks, they're the victims. It don't matter. It doesn't matter if the other side gets killed, if the other side gets raped or whatever. The black man is always the victim. I get sick of it. You killed this man's son. I'd be in Mexico by now. Hey, how come you ain't been to court, Mrs. and Mrs. Mr. and Mrs. Anthony? How come you haven't been in court? Where's your son? Matter of fact, I'd have left my son in the conference room and moved to Mexico. Judge, we're going to leave our son with you. And we got to leave town for a little while. We can't, this is something that we can't walk away from. This was already pre-planned. We got to go. But, y'all have the hearing without us. I'd have been praying that my son get locked up to protect him from getting stabbed, or better yet, set on fire or something after what he did. I'd be over in Mexico, so I wouldn't be nowhere around for them to threaten me. I don't blame Mr. McCalf. What do you do in a case like this? And then y'all sitting there trying to do everything you can, and even in the judge, the day that it happened, it doesn't take a whole lot of investigation or anything. Lock the boy up. Give him and why should he get the minimum when there's a dead person involved? It'd been different if the boy got injured. The boy's dead. And the boy did not resist. It was not an act of self-defense. However, the boy did get killed for being stupid. Because whoever it was, and I think there was more than one of them, it wasn't just the boy alone. He had friends with him or something like that. If I'm hearing this correctly. They tried to make that boy get out of the tent when the boy clearly said, touch me and see what happens. Touch me and see what I got something for you. Like I said, unless my daughter or my wife is standing right next to you. Okay. You know what? Keep the tent. Y'all, come here. Let's go over here. Give me your phone. Either give me your phone or call 911 or do it for me. Call 911. You heard what the boy said. He got a weapon. He said if we go near him, he got something for us. Okay. Call the police. Let them know what he said. Let them know he's in the wrong tent. Give him what is this? 4829. Okay. Tell them the address. Tell them what's going on. It's that simple, folks. It's that simple. And we just sit there. He's sitting there with a knife in his jacket or whatever, or in his shirt or whatever, and we just looking at him like. I hope your hard R butt didn't defund the police because we waiting on them. Wheel. Oh, here they come. And what do you think he would have did? He would have got up out of that chair and started walking away. 9 out of 10, if it's a kid, now an adult might just sit there. But a kid will get up and start walking away. And then you got to tell him, there he is right there. He's walking away. Whoa. Young man, hold up. Sir, we need to talk to you, But I guarantee you, if these white people had done it by the book, if they had done what they should have done, it would have turned out the same way. They're racist because they called the cops on a boy who said clearly he want them to come over there with their mess so he can stab them. They would have done the same thing. They'd have had the same Mr. Young Johnny Cochran, coming over there trying to act like this is a racial issue. The one that, if I'm racist, the one that said he got a knife and he want me to come get some, what is he? Okay? This is where I cannot dance with black folks. I I just can't. I just cannot dance with black folks. I can't. I cannot. But you can watch the story if you want. What's the name of this? Any woman goes off on black woman, calls her the N-word. The hard R, that's the new term, the hard R. By the Hodge twins. Is it Hodge twins? Hodge twins, yeah. So that's my stance on it. Like I said, nobody likes black folks. Okay? Nobody. And if you go to this video, you'll hear the Hodge twins talk about how people just don't like black folks. And it's not because we're black. It's because of what we've allowed the color of our skin represent. When we walk down the street and an Indian girl or a white girl sees us coming, it's like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. I've walked in stores in certain neighborhoods and people say that out loud. Uh-oh. I'm just here to get gas, dude. Like, I ain't getting here to harm anybody. I've had people so bent on that black folks are no good for anything but crime. I've had people say derogatory stuff to me. Like, I've asked a question. I don't know, sir. Maybe if you call the police, they can help you better. And I'm thinking, why would I call the police just for directions? They want me to call the cops on myself so the cops can come and say, where are you from? Well, the truth is I don't have to be from anywhere. Unless I'm doing a crime. Unless I get pulled over for speeding. Or what, I can be from the abyss. I could be from the blue cloud. Whatever. Okay, I don't have to be from anywhere. Okay? Just like riding through people's neighborhoods or walking through people's neighborhoods. Now, I don't recommend walking through people's neighborhoods, but driving through people's neighborhood, stop me, call a cop, go ahead. But I know, like, people don't want you walking through their neighborhood, just like we got video footage of they stopped that one kid, one man, actually. He was a real young man. He's like college age. He was walking through this black neighborhood, this white neighborhood, and they stopped him. These guys pulled up in a truck and stopped him and said, what are you walking through our neighborhood for? And he says, back up off me, please. I'm doing exactly what came out of your mouth. I'm walking through your neighborhood. What law says I can't do that? And what did the cops do? They didn't even address the boy. They went and talked to these white folks like, what do you want us to do? So what they did to kind of piss the black boy off was they kept riding around in circles until he finally was out of the neighborhood, but, and he's like on camera, he's like, I don't care. Let them, you know what? I'm going to slow down so they can go around another 5 times, but he was just walking through the neighborhood. And I don't do that. I'll ride a scooter through your neighborhood. I'll drive a car through your neighborhood. I'm not walking because something go down. I need to get away. Okay. I don't need to be walking. You on foot. They can make any old kind of lie about that. I ain't no. So you didn't go nowhere near her house? Officer, I did not go nowhere near that woman's house. Okay. I was walking down a public street. And that's the thing. You're walking through somebody's neighborhood, but it's a public street. Just because it's your neighborhood, that doesn't mean that the streets are your neighborhood. The streets are still public streets. Except, unless I want to do something like throw a block party or something right out in front of your house or something like that. Then it's not a public street anymore. Now it's your neighborhood. But if I'm just walking, driving, riding a bike or whatever, walking my dog, whatever, through your neighborhood, I'm walking on a public street. You don't own the sidewalk, and you don't own the street. But this video I watched last night of the Hodge twins, some dude went up and stood in front of this woman's door, okay, and knocked on her door to let her know he was, he wanted to check and see if anybody was in there. He knocked on the door to have this argument with her. He knocked on the door, and like a smart woman, she looked outside. She looked at the cameras and said, "Hey, what are you doing on my property?" And the minute she said that, he got all pissed off. But the video footage shows he was out there standing at the bus stop, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to go stand over here." Now, maybe it was that cold out there where he felt that if he's standing close to her house, the wind's only coming one way instead of two ways or four ways. But, he just was ignorant and rude. And she ended up calling the cops on him. And that's why it's important what neighborhood you live in, whether you're white or black. Because you live in a neighborhood where you're sharing a neighborhood with people that are impoverished, they're going to think that you owe them some. And they're going to hate you. And they're going to test you. And they're not going to tolerate you having anything to yourself. Not your house, not your wife, not your car, nothing. Because they think you owe it to them because they don't have. Okay? So you got to be careful what kind of neighborhood you live in. That goes for black people as well as white people and any other race. And every time you go shopping, they believe this happened at Walmart. Okay? Well, every time you go to Walmart, it's like you need to wear a helmet. You need to wear goggles. You need to wear a mask. You need to wear, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know who gonna come in there tripping, and they're usually black. Okay? Now, when I move out of this neighborhood, which I'm getting ready to, I'm gonna miss it. Because other than a 12-year-old white boy who tried to act like he wanted to punk me inside Target up in South Hills, we don't have these problems in this neighborhood. Okay? We don't have problems like that. We don't have problems with people. We don't have problems with people just going inside Walmart and acting a fool and starting some stuff. The black folks around here, and none of them live around here, they work here. And usually they don't want to drive all the way out here to shop either. So we got a lot of black folks working. I thought slavery was over. It'll never be over. But I take that back. But we got a lot of black folks working out here, up here in this uppity up. In my neighborhood, in South Hills, and you name it. If you're going to go in a rinky-dink Giant Eagle or Walmart or something like that, you're going to see black folks. You're going to see more black folks a lot of times more than white folks. But the people that live in the neighborhood are white. The people that are parking all them cars outside are white. It just kills me when everybody can get in that neighborhood except black folks. You got Indians in there. You got Asians in there. No black folks at all for miles, But is that their fault or is that our fault? Because I think if you're going to fight racism, what you need to be fighting is segregation. And I tell you what, if you fight segregation to the max, okay, which will be an easier fight than some of your other fights. If you fight segregation to the max, white people will get over their side of racism. They'll get over it. Okay? Because why? Everywhere they go, they got black neighbors. There's no way you're not going to go to work today and then, come home and wash all the blackness off you. Because you got it right next door. They're living right next door to you. You got to deal with them black folks right next door to you. So it's good to fight against segregation and make white people trust you, even though they don't want to trust you. They rather just give you a label. And that's not just you, but that's other races too, depending on what it is that they do. But, we are a melting pot. That's not going to go away. It's how we are a melting pot. We're not a melting pot going back into slavery, are we? So therefore, your biggest fight with white folks is segregation. That's your biggest fight, is segregation. Now up here, I got white neighbors up here, and they think that, because we're living in subsidized housing, it doesn't matter. But then when they move out to the better neighborhoods, and all of a sudden they get racist or start to act prejudiced, like, they don't want your black butt living next door to them. But ain't you the same lady that I lived next door before? Subsidized housing? Well, you prospered just like I prospered. And now we're able to live, but now they want to make a distinction because it's no longer subsidized housing where they felt that they were on my level. But when they went up and started living in the good house, they thought that they was on, a higher level. And I'm like, well, the thing about a higher level is I can go on a higher level too. And black folks, you need to understand that today. You can go on a higher level just like white people can. That's a difference between today and yesterday. You can go make millions and billions too if you do the same thing the white people do to get them. Okay? Racism doesn't mean anything today. It meant something yesterday, but it doesn't really mean much today. It's just white folks being Karens and Clydes and screwing it up for themselves and making themselves look stupid. That's all it is. So I don't even let it get to me. One more thing I want to say about cops that'll keep you out of trouble. If a cop pulls me over, the first thing I'm going to do is lower my voice. And the first thing I'm going to do is smile. And the first thing I'm going to do is shut my mouth and let him talk. And if I don't understand the question, or if he says something derogatory, I'm sorry, officer, I didn't understand the question. What did you say about London? Okay. I was going to say, you had me going there for a minute because, I know this is America. Okay. Anyway, and he's going to get mad, but he asked for that. Okay. But what you want to do is you want to be calm. If he asks for your license and registration, he's doing that. He's digging. He's digging. He's looking for an excuse because it's true. Sorry, Brandon Tatum. Sorry, Jesse Lee Peterson. It's true. He might not like black folks. He might because black folks are always, not because he just simply don't like black folks because he don't like brown skin. He don't like black folks because black folks are 90% of the crime of any neighborhood in America. So therefore, it's not what you're doing. It's what your cousins and your best friends are doing out there on the streets. It's what they're doing. It's not what you're doing. You're taking an L for them. Okay. But anyway, he's going to pull you over. He's going to try to provoke you. He's going to try to find some way of arresting you or, And today, cops are so wicked and the time is so wicked. If it's a woman in a car by herself, he may find a way to, make her step out of the car so he can put his hands on her or something. Since he can't sleep with her, she's not going, he's not going to ask her to sleep with him, but he wants to put his hands on her. So he wants to make her mad. So he has to put his hands on her. Okay. You know, and that's some hypersexual crap right there. You know, the worst thing is when a man pulls you over and you were the one speeding and it was just your wife in the car, and they want to make your wife step out of the car because they want to see what her bottom looks like. They want your wife to step out of the car, especially if she's a foreign wife, she's got an accent. They want her to step out of the car because they want to see what you got that they can't get. And what you need to be worried about is when you've been as humble as you can, told your wife to shut your mouth and comply. And then they separate you from your wife and they put you in one car and they put her in a different one. That's where you need to worry. Because what do they need with her when you were the one speeding? Why does she need to have a driver's license? She ain't driving. Why does she need to show her registration? She ain't driving. Why do they need to see, you know, all these IDs and all that stuff? They're not immigration. So why do they need to see all that stuff? But this is what I want to say about that. You will not do anything. If a cop pulls you over, you want to make him mad, give him everything he needs. And then, you know, let your innocent, you know what I mean? Because I don't want, a lot of black folks are going to jail because they got too much mouth. Or they're getting arrested and taken down to a police station at least because they got, you know, and the more that they start opening up their mouth and talking, it's like that IC. That's like that Ice-T video where Ice-T got pulled over. And the more he started raising his voice and asking the cops questions like he was a cop, you know who I am and all that kind of stuff, you know, it escalated. People can watch your shows on TV, bro, and still don't like you, okay? But they say, hey, he's a good actor, but he ain't a good hard R, you know what I mean? But they made him mad, and they finally, he's lucky he didn't end up going to jail. But they did finally get him to move his car, and that's all they wanted him to do. But he called it harassment, and you know. But this is what you need to do, because years ago I probably would have said, you know, if you just comply with the police, you know what I mean? No, you're going to comply with the police, yes. But that doesn't mean that they won't do you the dishonor and the defaming of taking you all the way to jail for a crime that you didn't commit. And they'll try to act like, oh, if you're being loud, you're resisting arrest and you're resisting, you know. And yes, cops will come to you and lie to you. And you can ask, why are you making me step out of the car? But you need to step out of the car immediately. Can you step out of the car, please? Step out of the car. What you want to do if you get pulled over, especially if you know you wasn't speeding that fast and all like that, or even if you was, you want to put your cell phone on record. Don't let them know you're recording, and they don't need to see a video. They just need to hear the conversation. And people in IA and that, they love to hear recordings. Put your phone on record and have it sitting there, you know, recording you and the officer's conversation. And when he pulls you over, go to your phone and put that baby on record. Okay? If there's any screaming and yelling or the cop being rude or saying any racial innuendo or whatever, if he comes to you without a body cam and all that kind of stuff, at least you have a recording. You have a recording of what went down. You can hear the conversation because it's the conversation that escalates. It's not him pulling you over. Well, you're mad because he pulled you over. But he's mad because you're mad because he pulled you over. But see, what you need to do is you need to record the conversation. And that also helps you to calm down and be in your best spirits because you know you're being recorded as well. So you record the conversation. And then when you stand before the judge to appeal your case, then you're going to appeal your case in the courtroom. You're not going to appeal your case on the street. Because anything you say no to, you have no authority to say no. Even if he's a filthy, dirty, racist, rapist cop, you have no authority to say no. Anything you say no about, like this last video they just did, will get you arrested. And that is what they want. They don't care about your turn signal or care about you speeding a minute over the speed limit. They know you black. They want to see if they can help America by putting more black folks in prison. Oh, well, you know, how much you want to bet this fool? Look at that car. How much you want to bet he got something in the trunk? How much you want to bet? And you know what? Let him. Because the only thing you're going to do when there's a couple cops on you and there's nobody else that's in authority over those cops involved, you're not going to win. Shut your mouth and only talk about what the officer asked you to talk about. Be very honest and just say, yes, officer, no, officer, sure, officer, yes, I can do that, officer. That's all you need to do. Because you're not going to help yourself by getting angry and causing a scene where the only people in authority there are cops. And sometimes all they want to do is flex. They don't really care about the fact that they pulled you over, but being you black, they want to flex. And some conservatives might disagree with me. I think I've watched enough of this stuff, and out of all the stuff, maybe the cops didn't want to shoot you. Maybe they didn't want to fight with you, tase you, and all that stuff, but they did want to flex. That's for sure. Because you can understand when someone pulls you over, okay, you know, and you know you didn't really do any, okay, it was a turn signal. Okay. Why do I need to step out of the car for a turn signal? Why do you need to see? Do you understand why I pulled you over? Yes, officer. Was I speeding? No, it's your turn signal. Okay. Can I look at it? Or, okay, I'm not allowed out of the car. Okay. Because I just left the mechanic and the mechanic checked my turn signals yesterday. So, okay. It's okay. You got pulled over by a cop. He's going to do whatever he and his rookie attitude thinks that he has a right to do. He'll arrest you over a turn signal. He'll arrest you over going a minute over the speed limit or a mile over the speed limit. Okay? Because he's a rookie. He's trying to flex. He's trying to get some notoriety or something. And he's trying to make a name for himself like these gangsters out on the street. He's trying to make a name for himself. Just doing petty stuff to get a name for himself. All these cops, a lot of these cops are wannabe gangsters. And the reason why I know this is because I just before. I used to think differently before I used to work with a cop who wanted to stop working for the hospital and move to Washington, D.C. when he found out all the crap that was going on in Washington, D.C. Remember that crap that was going on in Washington, D.C. where they were shutting cities down and blocking cities and barricading cities, and they were asking extra officers to sign up, and it opened a job for him. But I know the way that this guy said something to me that was racist on the job. And he came to me later and I told him, get out my face, man, because I don't want to talk to you anymore, man. Like, you say stuff like that, I don't want to talk to you. And one of the supervisors walked in there and said, the least you could do is apologize to the guy for saying that, you know. But he knows I was just joking. You're the only one here that would joke like that. You joke like that because you tried to be funny and you lost. You tried to cap, and you know a black man can cap better than you. So you got mad and said something you shouldn't have said. Apologize to the dude or we're going to have problems. And the dude apologized to me. But I know why he's moving to Washington, D.C. For the same crap that came out of his mouth, he's hoping to go out there and lasso some black folks. Because that was what was going on in that Washington, D.C. at that time. And they were, you know, they were asking for more police. A lot of cops got shot, got killed. This boy wanted action. And he wanted political action. So there you have it. But if you get pulled over by the police, comply. There's nothing you can do. You raise your voice a little bit, you're just going to make them stick around longer. You get mad, you're going to make them stick around longer. It's going to take longer. If you start whispering to your wife, they're going to start bothering her. If you start fiddling with your phone, they're gonna either try to take your phone or they're gonna try to say, "Are you recording me?" or whatever. No, the minute you get pulled over, hurry up and put that phone on record and sit it in the seat or sit it in the cup holder with the microphone up. Let it record all that crap. All right, but other than that. If he said, "Oh, you know why I'm pulling you over?" and shh, I'm talking, and you know, sorry, officer. Yes, sir, officer. Yes, sir, ma'am. Because there's nothing you can do until you get to the judge, and that's what happens to me 3 times. 2 times the cops pulled me over, and I was like, seriously? I thought I had to be driving 5 miles over the speed limit for you to pull me over. I'm calculating 1. Oh, well, you're seeing things wrong, baby. You know, they called me baby and stuff like that. You know, okay. Went to court. He didn't show up. Same thing with another dude. Pulled me over, okay, for a dumb reason. And I disagreed with him. He made me sign. Went to court. He didn't show up. Okay. Another time. Cop made me sit there and wait for my drunk ex-wife to come pick up my daughter because he wouldn't allow me to move my car. I took my car home after my wife came and got my daughter. I took my car home. I didn't care. I'm not leaving my car here to be towed when I can just simply take it home and park it. I took it home and parked it. But when we went to court, okay, when we went to court, he tried to sit there and go through the history of my whole entire license. And the white judge looked at him, looked at this white rookie state trooper, and told him to get a life. Right in front of everybody. She said, we're not going to destroy his license or whatever. He got caught with, you know, driving around with a bad inspection sticker. His inspection stickers is 2 months old. I'm not going to destroy his license. He can park his car and pay the fine. Okay? Or he can take his license and go get a car or go rent a car, whatever that's inspected. We don't need to take his license because years ago he had the same issue. That's what you're here for. For people that keep driving around so you can get these people off the street so they don't get hurt or they don't, you know. But I'm not going to do this to this guy, you know. You could tell he was a state trooper, but he was a rookie state trooper. He might have spent so much time as a cop, but as far as being smart on the highway. He was not at all. He went after me with everything he had. I'm thinking, what if I had a gun? What was you going to do? Just shoot from my back window before you found out I had a gun? Like, I mean, dude, what kind of cop is this, you know? But, you know, he came after me with everything he had over a inspection sticker. Okay. So, you know, my ex-wife who drank, well, she was alcoholic at the time, and I was hoping and praying he don't wait for her to get here, or we'll both be sitting here having our cars towed or whatever, you know. But she took my daughter home, and I waited for about like another half an hour, and then I finally took that U and took my car home and parked it. I figure if I get out of his jurisdiction, I don't think he's going to come into the city, you know, the town to get me. You know, if I get out of his jurisdiction, maybe he'll leave me alone. And I did. I took a chance. Because if he had pulled me over again, then I would have had to tell the judge, it just didn't make sense to me. But what really was bad was I told him, I said, well, I have my daughter here in the car with me. Can I just take my car and park it at home? No. He got to be one out of every 80 cops that would say no to that. When I live like 2 miles away. Well, 4 miles away. Okay. And they do that. I used to always think the cops were, you know, never up to anything. But right now, Black Lives Matter and all the crime going on in black neighborhoods as well as in white neighborhoods, that's black crime too. Indian, Arab neighborhoods, that's black crime. It's black crime everywhere. White cops are always wanting to get us off the street. They don't even care to find a guilty truth or find true or false anymore. They just want to get us off the street. They want to get us off, and they don't want to just get us off the street. They want to get us off the highway. But for the whole year of 2024 and 2023, I did not get pulled over once. And I've been in all kinds of neighborhoods doing Uber and Lyft. Okay. And a lot of times, you know, cops won't bother you if you got your Uber sign on. Even if you're speeding a little bit, they won't bother you if you have your Uber light on and all like that. And they could easily pull you over with your passenger in the car. That could immediately get you fired. But I'm so grateful that that I haven't had any problems with cops for the whole year of 23 and 24, those 2 years. I haven't had no problems with cops on the road, and I just thank God for that. I've rode right past cops, and I'm like, ooh, I better slow down a little bit. I'm going a little bit. I haven't even checked to see what the speed limit is. I'm just following the traffic, you know. And I looked at the speed limit, and I said, whoa, I'm going 45 and 25. Let me slow down here a little bit, you know. But I haven't gotten pulled over. And what I love about the app on your Uber and your Lyft thing, they let you know what the speed limit is, even when there's no signs around. A lot of times you're out on these country highways, there's no signs. And you got everybody around you driving like a maniac, and the speed limit's only like 25, you know. The speed limit is 25. And they driving like maniacs. And you look at your Uber or your Lyft app, and it's like, the speed limit is 25. Why are they going 50? You know, they going 70 in a 25, you know, because they live there. You know, I don't live there, so I ain't about to get pulled over there, you know. But because that's what I do. I love to travel. I love to drive. I love to go to your neighborhood and drive through your neighborhood Okay, eat at your McDonald's, eat at your Applebee's, eat at your whatever. Okay, go to your Walmart, go to your Giant Eagle. That's what I love to do. That's my hobby. It's a hobby of mine. It's an addiction. And when I was in Allentown, beautiful neighborhood, a lot of black people, but very segregated. When you do go through the nice white neighborhoods, white folks look at you and their hands start going up everywhere. Like, why are you in here? Like, who you looking for? You know, I'm driving through this neighborhood. I'm on vacation in Allentown, and I drove down this one road, and this white woman got out of her car, and I slowed down because I was checking my phone because I was trying to, I got lost in her neighborhood and I'm trying to get back to the main drag. So I slowed down a little bit, and she had pulled up right on the side of the road. I guess that's her house. She pulled up behind me, and I'm slowing down. And the next thing you know, she gets back in her car and comes up because I slowed down. She comes up and pulls up beside me and gets out of the car and her hands are going everywhere. And I'm like, I cracked the window a little bit. She's like, who are you looking for? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm on vacation. Oh, you on vacation in my neighborhood? I says, I'm on vacation in Allentown, man. I'm touring. Well, what are you out here for? And I told her, I might be trying to buy a house. Just scare her a little bit. I'm thinking about buying a house up here. What do you think? You better get out of here in a minute or I'm going to be calling the cops, But, that is one place where I don't agree with conservatives. I don't agree with a lot of blacks. I don't believe that we should be segregated. You want a lot of racist crap to stop. Make everybody live together. You got people, you're giving them Arab neighborhoods now. You're giving them neighborhoods with Sharia law, and you give it, and you just shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be doing that. Everybody should be living together. We're all Americans. We should be living together. We're all legal citizens. We should be all living together. It shouldn't be like, oh, the black people live over there and the white people live over there and the Indian people live over there and the Spanish people live over there. They need to get rid of the word sand in California. Okay, and change that word to I don't know, diversity, everything. This is diversity ego, okay? Diversity, ricoccata, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Everything needs to be diverse. Too much Spanish and not enough Americans over there in California, you know what I mean? But let me get out of here. I know this video is long. Thank you for watching. Talk to you soon, a little bit later with more. God bless.